Undocumented students are present in colleges and universities across the United States. However, their presence is undermined by their legal status. In response, the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act, also known as the DREAM Act, was reintroduced to the Senate in 2009. Under this act, minors brought into the U.S. under the age of 16 who met the criteria would be eligible for legal status through college or military service. On September 22, 2010, the bill was defeated. It received 56 of the 60 votes needed.
I don't see anything negative that could come out of somebody being a legal student and getting a career and a job. They could help their family, they could help themselves, they help the government, the economy, society, everything. So why keep that away from people? It's not fair.
Am I offended that they are perhaps taking someone's spot who had been there legally? Yes, particularly if lower standards, affirmative action type standards were set for them to be here. I don't want them here. I think that, but I think that, you know, you have to give someone a chance to right that wrong, particularly if it was their parents' wrong.
Approximately 65,000 undocumented students graduate from high school each year, and only 5 to 10% continue to college. Of the 2.1 million DREAM Act candidates nationwide, 70% reside in California, Florida, New York, Arizona, Illinois, New Jersey, Georgia, and Texas, which has 12%.
Undocumented student is just what that term implies: a student, somebody who's going to school, and somebody who is without legal status in the United States currently.
The disagreement surrounding the DREAM Act in the Senate reflects disagreement among the U.S. population. Even defining what an undocumented student is varies according to each person's perspective.
An undocumented student is someone who comes to our universities, and I think the greater concern would be with the public universities that are state-funded, and uses the goods and services provided by the university illegally.
Undocumented students are a varied group. They come from many countries and backgrounds. Some come legally with visas, while others are brought illegally. The following undocumented student, undocumented graduate, and undocumented student facing deportation were all brought to the U.S. between the ages of 6 and 10.
I just remember waking up that morning and my mom said, "We're leaving." My uncles used their kids' papers to get me over. They basically just said that I was my cousin. And I mean, they gave me pills to go to sleep supposedly, but I didn't go to sleep, so I faked it as we were crossing over. I was 7 years old. Actually, the day that I arrived here was on May 25th. So I turned 7 the day that I got here.
I'm currently a junior in college. I was originally born in Albania. So pretty much they were trying to murder anyone that they knew used to be in the army. So my dad had to move to Athens for his safety, and we all moved to Greece because of that, because it was dangerous for us to live in Albania at that point. Well, there was a lot of racism in Athens versus Albanians, so we decided, you know, we should move to the United States. We came here legally. We came here with a visa, but it was a tourist visa. We were waiting for our legal status, and then September 11th just pretty much ruined everything, not just for my family, for everyone, because the government realized, you know, we can't just be letting anybody in to the country. We kind of have to know who they are.
Students lacking legal status, regardless of how they entered the country, face possible deportation if they are caught by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE.
My name is Edwin. I was born in Morelia, Michoacán, Mexico. 19 years ago, I came to the U.S. when I was 6. One of the biggest issues that I faced was when I went on a student government trip. We flew there, so when we tried to come back, there was Border Patrol at the airport, and since I didn't have a government-issued ID, then I was questioned, you know, why. And in the end, you know, they were questioning me about my legal status here and stuff, so in the end, I just said the truth, so I ended up being in a detention center for 2 weeks, and thankfully I was able to get out on a bond, so that's why I'm here back home where I feel that I belong. My fear is basically, you know, what's gonna happen whenever I do have to go to my court hearings, and, you know, what's the judge gonna decide, you know. That's basically my main fear now. In the end, it's up to the judge, you know. They can decide if I can stay in this country, or they can decide for me to get deported back to where I was born.
Undocumented students are at the heart of the national immigration debate. Known as the 1.5 generation, they grew up in the United States and identify with America, not their country of birth. Yet many people do not consider them American. SMU student Chad Cohen describes the situation of undocumented students.
I think that they're in a really tough position, and I think that in the entire immigration debate, they're really kind of the people who are the most vulnerable and maybe the most ignored. They've done all the right things, they've done everything that we've asked of them, and yet they're the people who, you know, quite frankly, they get screwed by the entire process. And so what we need to recognize is they're the next generation of talent, they're the next generation of residents, because they're going to be here in our country one way or the other. We need to accept that, we need to embrace that fact, harness their talents and abilities, and use it to make America a more productive, a more exciting, and more dynamic country.
They are fully American, other than their status, their immigration status. Many of them don't understand that they were not born here until it comes time to get a driver's license or go to college.
No, I feel like I'm American. The only thing that's stopping me are documents to show that. But I feel like I'm American.
The first time I understood the meaning of not having a social security number was during my senior year of high school, when I started to apply for colleges.
Basically, junior year is when it all hit me. You know, that's when I started thinking about going to college and how I was going to pay for it.
I didn't know that not having a social security number meant that I would have no financial support from the government. My parents still have to pay a lot of money for me to go to school here. And that's really hard because it's hard for us to find good jobs when we don't have a social.
One of the main difficulties that I faced, and every other undocumented student faces, is you know, receiving financial aid to go to school, because being undocumented, you know, we're not eligible to receive any kind of federal financial aid.
I think that federal aid should go to law-abiding citizens who meet the requirements to receive it. We have to help people who are our own and have, you know, followed the law.
They're taking away opportunities or potential opportunities from, you know, what I guess would be considered a lesser option as the next student in line to get into the university, but they're still taking options away or opportunities away for students who otherwise would have been admitted had the undocumented student not been accepted.
The American spirit is you work hard, you do what's right, and the best people will get a job, they'll do all right. And I think that, that we need to uphold that. And like I said, this is an opportunity. If you've got undocumented students in college, that's a great thing. The goal here is to get people into college. The fact that they're already there, that's awesome. And we just need to legalize what they're doing right now, bring them out of the shadows, and support them on their path to making us a better country.
If these students can get in and fool the system, so to speak, and get financial aid, we need to hold them accountable for that as well. And I don't think that they should be receiving financial aid. They need to do it the right way. If other people can do it, if other people are willing to wait in line, why shouldn't they?
They say, you know, I'm for immigration, but I'm only for it if you've done it legally. Well, if you understood the complexities involved in our process, then you would understand that that process needs to be repaired. The immigration process is very, very complex. It's a very long process in most instances, and there's not enough visas available in our system to accommodate the migration patterns that are occurring in our hemisphere. So separate and apart from the DREAM Act legislation, there's a need to reform our system.
So many of these students, as I said, went through the American public education system. They have a high school diploma. They did the same work that you did. And to kind of pull this trump card of, well, you weren't born here, I don't think that's right. You know, I think that if you did the work that everyone else did, and you have the better grades, better transcripts, better SAT scores, then you deserve that scholarship. And that's a merit-based society. That's what we've always been built on. And I think that it's wrong to have a double standard on that.
Undocumented students face all the normal challenges that any student faces, yet they are burdened by even more of a challenge in that there's so many ways that they have to seek to overcome barriers to finishing their college degrees.
I support my 3 brothers and sister, and I help out my mom with the mortgage payment, bills, everything. I always think about if something was to happen to me, what would happen to them?
For more information about undocumented students, visit www.boxedin.org.